All right. Welcome to the very first episode of the Rough Rigs SuperCoach podcast.
Something new.
Dabble in a bit of SuperCoach.
This is going to be predominantly you at the start of the season, and I'll come in when I can.
Yeah. You're not the biggest SuperCoach guy. You know a bit. You dabble in it.
I enjoy SuperCoach, but I just don't devour into it like you. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So just, we're no experts.
Well, you've got a bit of credibility in the SuperCoach game.
So I'm no expert. I haven't, won the thing or anything like that. But
it'd be pretty hard to win it.
Yeah.
Fucking, let's be real.
But I normally finish within. I think the last 3 years I've finished top 1,000. I think my highest was 120 something.
That's fucking ridiculous, dude.
It's
how many people normally?
I know a little bit. But
you finished 120th.
Yeah.
You know it more than a little bit. Last year, I remember you getting onto guys before certain big podcasts would even get near them.
Yeah.
So I think you're downplaying how good you really can be.
Well, I don't want to talk myself up too much, and then this be the year I finish 50,000.
Yeah. How many people normally play?
I don't know, normally gets up around 100.
Fucking hell,
150.
120th.
Yeah. So
think about the closest person I know to ever get like lower than that was my school teacher in year 12. He came fourth.
Fuck.
Fourth.
What
was it like? And some of the lessons he would just fucking, boys, what do you reckon I should do? And we'd be giving him the most shit advice. He'd be like, yeah, nah. Yeah. Not doing that.
Yeah.
Shout out Mr. Musket.
Yeah, well.
Hope he's still playing the bastard.
So what I thought we'll do is, because even though you're not a SuperCoach guy,
I still enjoy it.
You do it, and you're a big NRL guy.
Yeah.
You pick players that are really good at NRL, which sometimes as a SuperCoach player, you get too caught up in looking at the stats and not how they're actually playing.
Yeah, correct.
Because obviously if you have a player playing really well, it's going to translate to getting more minutes, more points.
Yeah, yeah.
So those kind of things, I think you'll be really, because I think you know the game, as in NRL. I think you know NRL better than me, whereas I've got more
big call
of that SuperCoach understanding. So
you do.
I think
you really do.
Together,
we could build something. Here.
Could be something.
Maybe in the future we build a team together. Bit of a hybrid.
We might try and get a league as well. I haven't got one at the moment. But I'll set up a league,
a Rough Rigs
league. That sounds
good.
hot.
Why not? We'll get it up by today, I guess. We'll get the code up.
Yeah, get a code up. So join it, and my team.
We'll do a prize. We'll figure out a prize or something. We'll do something.
Yeah,
maybe our first merch drop in the future.
So my team are Handsy for Dillbags.
Handsy for Dillbags.
So
God,
I'm expecting big things from them.
I can't believe that got filtered through. That's wild.
But yeah, what I thought we'll do today is just because obviously we've got trials happening.
Yep.
But we haven't had any games. So
any real games
We're still a couple of weeks away, 11 days, 1 hour and 12 minutes.
Jesus, I'm about to say, is that something nerdy that you've just found? But it's on the screen.
Straight off the top of the noggin, that one.
Yeah. Every Parramatta fan counting down the start of the season every year for the last 55 years.
Yeah, so there's still a while to go. So obviously we don't know teams for round one yet.
Yeah.
We do know teams for the trials, which there's been a few teams that have pretty much gone full strength.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
It's interesting, some of those decisions.
Picks, yep.
But what I thought I'll go is just go through the top most popular players.
Yep.
I think that's the best way to go about it today, because that's what people are choosing, right?
Yeah.
And I'll kind of give my thoughts on whether they should be higher or lower.
Yeah.
If there's anyone not in those top echelon of players that I think should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So we'll start off at hooker.
So this is Will's team, just to give...
Start off at hooker. So Harry Grant is the most popular player at the moment at 28%.
Big percentage.
I think, fair enough. I think he's the best hooker in the game. He is expensive though, $750K. You can do a lot with that kind of money for a hooker.
Yeah.
On and off the footy field, really.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Gets you a long way.
Fuck, that sort of money you'd be expecting a lot.
But
I think the captaincy excites a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that's the drawback.
he's got the captaincy, so he's going to be body on the line kind of thing.
I reckon he's been
even more so.
Yeah, more flamboyant, more into it, like, which is scary to think.
And I think that almost guarantees him 80 minutes.
Yeah. You'd think so.
I think
surely.
You're not, yeah.
As the captain, especially Melbourne Storm, they like 80-minute captains.
I mean, there's always going to be situations, especially over Origin period, where he'll get rested. But
yeah, of course.
I think for the first at least 6-7 rounds of the comp, he'll be playing 80 minutes.
Yep.
So if you go with Harry Grant, I can't fault you for it. It's just a lot of money. I haven't gone that way. I think there's better options for the price.
Yep.
But I think he will outscore any other hooker.
Most other hookers, yep.
So next one on the list, Jaden Brayley. I've gone off him a little bit.
This one scares me.
I was big on him
a touch.
Kind of in the off season, but he's picked up a little hamstring injury.
Yep.
He should be right for round 1, but just given his history, it concerns me whether they manage his minutes a lot more.
Yep.
Crossland played really well last year, so I think he's gonna get at least 30 minutes.
It's hard to take.
I can't see Brayley getting any more than 50 minutes.
100%.
And yeah, if there wasn't another hooker that I'll touch on in a minute, I could get around it.
Yeah.
But I think for that price, $330K, he's obviously cheap, but I think
there's question marks.
There's better options for that price if you're wanting a cheaper option. And we'll get onto that now with Brandon Hands.
Brandon Hands.
Oh, Brendan Hands, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone Hands.
I'm just replying to you, mate.
Brad Arthur's come out and said he wants his hookers playing 80 minutes.
80 minutes. I did see that.
So whether they go with Hands or whether they go with Lussick, who's the other option, they're both similar price. Lussick's $313,000. Hands is $343,000.
Yep.
I hope it's Hands because I feel like he has more attacking upside in him, just watching him play.
Yep.
Lussick seems like the solid option. I think he's probably a safer option. If I'm Brad Arthur, you know what he's going to do. He's going to get through his tackles. He's going to pass, but I don't think he's going to give you that extra creativity out of dummy half.
If needed, when needed.
Whether that's something that he needs, you've got a lot of attacking options there. You've got Moses, Gutherson, Dylan Brown, who are all weapons in attack. So whether he feels like he needs another one or whether he just wants someone who can just get through their work.
Yeah.
So whichever one he goes for, if they're playing 80 minutes, I'm all over either of them.
To be picked.
If one's starting and one's off the bench, I'm not so keen at all.
Yeah,
it does a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Then I'm probably back to looking at Brayley.
Yeah. Well, that one's it's similar situations, man. Because can you take minutes off Crossland? That many minutes off him?
Yeah,
with how he played.
He's so a similar thing with the Knights to Para. Like Crossland is that he has that attacking creativity side, whereas Brayley's just going to get through the work.
Yeah.
So
it's a tricky one. Yeah. Who would have thought?
But I think Newcastle are in the position where they've only got Ponga as their creativity
superstar.
Yeah, so
go-to guy.
Everything kind of comes off the back of him. Yeah. So it'd be nice, I think, for them. They would prefer to have Crossland playing more minutes.
It does make sense.
And yeah, just with Brayley, just the recent hamstring injury that he's picked up concerns me. I think he'll get...
Poor bugger, he's just injury after injury.
I think he'll get limited minutes, just really controlled his way back. But we'll see. See how they line up round 1. But yeah, at the moment, I'm thinking Brendan Hands or Lussick is the better option. Api Coruscant.
Yes.
He's picked up the goal kicking.
Which is massive.
And he should play 80 minutes.
He will play. There's no chance he doesn't play 80 minutes.
What I want to point out to you, the end of last season, the last 6 games, he had goal kicking and he was playing 80 minutes. Before that, he didn't have goal kicking. But just the last 6 games I want to focus on here. Scores of 120, 60, 61, 79, 48 against the Roosters and 66 against Manly. So really good, solid scores there.
Especially the hooker spot.
For what he's priced at, he's priced at 572. So you're almost saving 200 grand going him instead of Grant.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money where you can spend elsewhere. And I believe that he's scores with his goal kicking. If he didn't have the goal kicking, I'm not as keen on him.
Yeah.
But I think that gets him up there. Yeah.
So would he be the one you're leaning to start the season?
I've got him in my team. Yep.
Okay.
I'm starting him with
even with the bye.
With the bye, yep. Because I feel like Para's got the Bulldogs round 1, so whoever they have it, hooker, I can just play them round 1, and they're going to get hopefully 40, 50 points. I can live with that.
Yeah. Okay.
The next one is Jeremy Marshall-King. He's only at 10% ownership.
Before he got injured last year, he was
good. I had him.
Very good.
I had him, and then he pissed me off because he kept getting named. He kind of fucked my season. I was doing well. I was a chance of getting into the top 100.
Yeah.
At that point, and he kept getting named, and then was ruled out with an hour to go.
Yeah.
And it happened like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. So I couldn't trade him because he kept getting named.
Yeah.
And then he just. Yeah, and then I think he played one game and he played like 10 minutes and re-injured his
whatever.
I think it was his shoulder, and he got like 7 points or something. So
yeah,
I'm not going him just because of that, basically.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm a bit traumatized by him, so I don't want to go again. It wasn't fun. Yeah. It was good while he was going well. He did really well, but then he just fucked me over a bit. So. Yeah, fuck him.
So you'd say your top 3 options are Grant?
I would say Grant, Coruscant, Marshall-King, and there's another one that I'll touch on who's very low for what he is.
Give us one outsider for each position.
I'll get there, mate.
It's going to be good.
I'll get there. But Jeremy Marshall-King, I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I think he's probably... I would have him probably second. He's... 639K, so you're probably paying 60 grand more than what you would for Coruscant.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're still getting a lot of saving in comparison to Grant.
Yeah. Because the measuring stick is Grant.
Yes.
So that's what you're trying to get at here, guys. The measuring stick is Grant, and what Will can see. Grant offers a lot. Don't get us wrong.
Grant, I think, will be the best option.
Yeah.
But you've got to kind of weigh up.
But to econ, to save that
if you're
money
saving
early.
Almost 200 grand that you can put in other positions that are going to boost them up.
Exactly right. So just if you're confused, the one player is going to be the measuring stick, and then we'll give you options below that. So
yeah. Marshall-King, I like. I'm just traumatized by him, basically.
That's fair.
Well, I'll go down a little bit here because he's very low, 4% ownership. This shocked me. Damien Cook. Had a bit of a quieter year last year.
He did.
There's a lot of talk about him. You know, he's getting old. Whether his best days are done, they may be.
Yeah, they might be.
But he averaged 65 last year in a year that was probably his worst year in NRL for a long time. We know what he can do at his best. He's one that can challenge Grant for that top spot as a hooker, I believe. He's quite expensive still, 660K. But again, you're saving 100K almost to go to Grant, 90K.
Yeah.
So
still a good option.
He's a good option. I don't think he should be at 4%. I'm tempted by him given that ownership. So what you want to do for those that haven't done much SuperCoach, you want to try and get a few, they're called pods, point of different players.
Yep.
And the reason for that is basically that's how you can jump ranks, especially early. A lot of teams are quite similar. So if you can get on a couple of players,
those random
that do really well, that outscore those top echelon players, like Grant's at 28% ownership.
Yeah, that's a big chunk.
If Damien Cook at 4% ownership outscores him over the first 6 weeks of the competition, that's going to skyrocket you through the rankings.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, it's a risk because if he doesn't do well, then you don't have many people in the same boat that are going to drop down with you. So you're kind of on your own there. So that's the risk.
That's the whole point of it.
But you're not going to win SuperCoach without taking a few risks here and there.
The footy fan in me will come in for a sec. I think a lot of people were off Damien Cook around that State of Origin time. Yeah. And I think it's quite unfair because of the situation of the game. They put him into centre.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault. I thought he played all right. Look, we lost. And partly, yes, it was his fault. But that's not his position. And I think from that moment onwards, Cook received a lot of negativity just from the NRL fan. Because I'm speaking from the NRL fan point of view.
Yeah.
And I can even attest, I was off Cook for a bit. So I think the 4% might be the rugby league fan more than the SuperCoach player.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think early doors in SuperCoach, I think when you get towards the Origin period, a lot of the casual players drop off because you have the buys and people get pissed off about that.
There's too much going on.
There's too much going on. You got to plan about it, and if you're not that keen on it, then you just you lose interest.
You shut the app.
Yeah.
You just watch the games.
But early doors, there's a lot of these percentages that would be quite new players, I would imagine. So, but that's something to look at. Damien Cook, I think he'll finish the year in probably the top 2 or 3 best hookers in the game.
Yep.
In SuperCoach. So, if you're looking at something, if you want something other than Grant, have a look at him. I reckon.
Have a look.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's go on to the front rowers.
Yep.
Front rowers are interesting in SuperCoach because they don't give you much excitement.
Yeah, but they're
not scoring tries, but they get through their work. They get you your points.
Yeah.
They'll get through tackles, their runs. They're very consistent players.
I'm guessing Haas is number 1.
Haas is number 1 by 37%. So a lot of people are on him.
It's just when he's on the field, he's doing things.
I can't talk anyone out of him. Again, he's $750K. He's expensive.
Especially that front row position.
You're not going to get hundreds out of him.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get 30s out of him.
He's going to always be at that 70 to 80.
He's going to give you consistent 65, 70 points.
Yep.
Like he averaged 73 last year. He'll average very similar this year. He's just...
Yeah, I can see that.
He's just,
fucking
he's good.
A mammoth.
If you just want some bloke that you can just plug in all year and just get your solid points, you don't have to think twice about him.
He's the man.
Get him. I'm not, just because, again, the price... trying to save money because I want to spend my money elsewhere in those more attacking positions where you're going to captain blokes that could get 150 on their day.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the way I like to look at it.
Yep.
Because you're not going to spend... If you're spending a lot of money, you want them to be a captaincy option. Haas, look, he can be, but he's not going to... I'm strongly of the belief that your captain should be someone that's willing to get high scores.
Yeah.
If you want to play it safe, like later on in the season, if you're at a stage where you just want to consolidate your rank, then someone like Haas is someone to look at because you know that he's not going to bring out a 30 and ruin your season, basically.
Yep, that makes sense.
A couple of cheapies here. We've got Sam Hughes. He looks like he's going to get at least a bench spot for Canterbury.
Yep.
So $230K. That's the other thing. If you're not aware with SuperCoach, you want to get players that are really cheap, that are going to make money. Then you sell them off and get more expensive players later on in the season.
That's the whole point.
The whole point is
upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try and make as much money in these early rounds as possible.
And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, including myself. And I feel my mates. We have a few diehard mates that they'll listen to this and they'll love it. But that's a big thing for me. I never go early. I always leave it too late.
Yeah. So if you don't make enough money early, it's going to hurt you later on in the season when you're able to get maybe 4 or 5 guns in your team and not
compared to 2,
6 or 7. You know, Ruben Cotter, 27%, $550K. I don't mind it. I can see
the wrecking ball.
I can see him making a bit of money. I think last year he wasn't great, I think it's fair to say.
I think it was just the Cowboys as a whole.
Carrying a bit of an injury, I think, through most of the year.
Yep.
I just want to have a look at how he did a couple of years ago. He averaged 59. He'd averaged 53 last year. So there's a bit of a dip off. He got less minutes as well.
Yeah.
Due to, I think, his injuries. We know he can play big minutes. If he can go back to playing big minutes, obviously those points are going to go up.
Yeah.
So I can see it for 550K, even less, there's definitely value. If you compare it again to Haas, who's 750K, saving of 200K. So
I think the Cowboys are on the up this year.
Yeah.
So I think he has to play a massive role in that too. Him and Drinkwater.
And he's one of those front rowers that, because I'd imagine he'd be playing lock.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's got that dual flexibility as well. So he's front row, second rowers, which make it a lot easier when you're making your trades. You can kind of put him in both positions.
Yep.
So you can trade out a second rower for a front rower if that's what you need.
If they're dual.
And just kind of switch him around. So they're really handy to have those dual position players.
In your team.
That adds a lot of value to him.
Yep.
Tino at 20%. He's good. Again, similar to Haas, he's expensive, 790K, so even more expensive than Haas.
Yep.
He's that one front rower that gives you a bit of upside in attack. He's going to score tries. He's going to break tackles.
He's always looking to score.
He's going to make line breaks. So has an offload in him. He's got that attacking. He does have that 100-point game in him.
Yeah, he does. 100%.
So I prefer him. If you're going to spend 750K on Haas, I'd probably rather spend 790 on Tino.
Yeah.
For mine.
And playing for, like, nothing against the Titans, but playing for the Titans, when he wants the ball, he gets the ball.
And they need him. Whereas I think they can rest Haas a little bit more, take his minutes lower. I think especially towards the start of the season, it's going to be quite hot, right? Like it's the first 2 or 3 games are in March. So it's still pretty hot. You're going to have the odd high 20, early 30 day, and Haas isn't going to play big minutes. Whereas they need him. They need Tino.
Yeah.
If he's not on the field, they're
in trouble.
A shell of a team.
Yeah.
So
they're a different team.
Yeah.
He's the captain. He's the captain for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what Desi can do with this side.
So, I think the Titans are going to improve. I think Tino's going to improve. I can see his average 77 last year. I can see that being 80 this year.
Yeah.
I like him. I just don't have the money for him at the moment for my team. But I can't fault anyone for having him.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other cheapies. It's hard to kind of judge who are the good ones yet. We'll have another episode after the round 1 team list come in about which ones are the best ones to get. There's a lot around, but again, it's just a lot of unknown at the moment. So I won't touch on too many of them, but Spencer Leniu, he's interesting one.
He went to
the Roosters
now.
So he's only 330K, so pretty cheap.
He's going to come off the bench.
He's going to come off the bench.
We know that.
I don't know if he's going to get any more minutes than he did at Penrith.
But I think that suits his game perfectly.
I think it does. I think as a Roosters supporter, I think that's probably what's best. He's that impact player, right? He's not going to play 60 minutes.
30 minutes of just fucking aggression.
So I don't know whether he's going to improve. Like he averaged more. 32 last year, playing probably 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't see him getting much more.
Getting any? Yeah.
If he gets up to 40 minutes, maybe he's worth it at that price. Chuck him in. He's going to make a little bit of money, but I'm not super keen on him.
But it's there. He's there.
I don't hate it either. You know. So, Tarpany, I've got him at. He's 650K.
He was actually one I was going to bring up.
14% ownership, so he's a little bit less owned by people.
That surprises me a bit, man, because he's very similar to that Tino. He'll just have a crack.
The thing that worries me is he, like Tino, he's got that little bit of upside.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about Ricky Stewart
and Canberra
because
as a whole.
his rotations with his forwards last year were
strange.
Like Tarpany, because I had him last year as well. 1 week he'd get 65 minutes, and then the next week he'd play 45.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, he was bringing two starting hookers, one off the bench, Starling and Fulton. Is it Fulton? Yeah, like...
But I just think Canberra are going to struggle this year. They're going to need Tarpany, I think, to play big minutes.
Big minutes.
You know, Papali'i, he's only getting older, so he's not going to be able to churn out what he used to.
Exactly. And he'll get hurt, man. He's, as you said, he's getting older.
Yeah.
It's the body's breaking down a bit. Being a forward, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a long life in the NRL. You're there for impact.
I tell you what, and Ricky Stewart's going to be under pressure, I think. If they lose the first 3 or 4 games, media's going to get into him. Maybe not Fox Sports because they're all mates, but...
No, they're mates now, so fucking hell.
But I reckon he's going to feel the pressure, and Ricky's going to be playing for a job, really, and he's going to want not to be fucking around with the forwards' minutes.
Yeah.
He'll just want his best team on the park for as long as possible, I believe.
That's a good observation, to be honest. I can see that.
I just want to touch on Fanua Blake because he's at 9% ownership, 740K. So expensive. He averaged 72 last year.
Fuck, that's pretty good.
I can't see him having the same year. He scored 1,000 tries last year, it seemed.
That's true. He did score a lot. He scored a lot.
He had his career best year. I can't see him replicating it. I can see a world where he drops down to probably 60, 65 average, which isn't horrible, but you're going to lose a bit of money there.
Yeah.
So
money-wise.
I'd stay away from him.
Yep.
At least for the first part of the season. Let him drop some money and then maybe pick him up at 600K instead of 750.
Yeah, favourable draw right before Origin usually. Those Warriors players come in.
Well, that's it. They are very valuable, the Warriors players, around that Origin time.
Yeah. It's those teams that just have very good players across the board. Like there's not one
obviously
star.
They have a lot of New Zealanders in their teams that don't play Origin. Yeah. And they normally play those bye games because I guess that's how the NRL
have set it up. Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah,
we need something entertaining in those fucking because those bye weeks can be stupid. Just even as a footy fan, a SuperCoach as well. You look at your team, there's just blue dots everywhere. Yeah, you're fucking staring at the wall. What the fuck do I do?
Yeah,
incoming 6 Warriors.
Last one I'll just touch on is Tyrell May, 6% ownership. I
think he starts this year.
I don't know. I'm putting him in a similar boat to Lenu. He's 430K, so a bit more expensive. I just don't know his minutes. If he's going to get 50 minutes, I'm all over him because I think he's a hell of a player. But I don't know if he does.
JWH retired this.
He's announced his retirement.
This will be his last year at the Roosters / NRL. So Robbo might just fucking use him a lot until the wheels fall off. So, but Tyrell May, he can be... Yeah. If he gets a lot of minutes
again, that's one for team list. If he's starting, then...
Get on.
I'll have a look at him.
He looks...
Because he looks good. He looks like a good SuperCoach player. Like he's that tackle breaking kind of runs hard. He's going to get your tackles, going to get your meters. I just don't know about his minutes, but... We'll find out, I guess.
Oh, we'll soon find out. 100%.
Let's go on to the second rowers because this is probably the most interesting.
There's a lot you can pick from.
Second rowers that we've had for a number of years that I can remember. Normally, I like to have at least one gun second rower,
and then
a
two,
couple of mid ranges, maybe a cheapie.
Yeah.
But there's so many good mid ranges this year, around that 400K.
Yeah.
In the second row. Sean Lane.
I think he needs a big year.
He's 37%. I'm shocked that it's that low. I think that should be 97%.
Really?
He is just about the biggest lock for me in my team because last year he had injuries.
Some off-field issues.
Parramatta was shit. There was a lot going on. So,
you know, I'm glad you're not a delusional Parramatta fan that would just say, "Oh, he just had a bad year." Like, you're straight to the point.
There was a lot going on. It was
just a bad year.
Yeah, he was injured. He was playing off the bench a lot. Brad Arthur didn't know what he was doing with his bench rotation half the year.
Yeah.
He averaged 44, which is shit for him because the year before he averaged 69.
Fuck, 70 to 40 is wild.
I cannot see a world where he loses money. At the very least, his lowest is about 55 over the last 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
So he's going to at least improve 10 points a game, probably make 100K. That's worst case scenario. So,
yep.
His best case scenario
he's one you're really thinking is going to be in a lot of people's teams come round 6.
Best case scenario, he averages 70 plus, playing outside Dylan Brown.
Worst case.
That combination is going to be brilliant.
Well, it was good the year he's played well.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like 2 years ago, he averaged 69 outside Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown's a better player now than he was 2 years ago. So
leaps and bounds better.
I can see a world where he averages 70 this year.
Yeah.
I really can. So, yeah. If you don't have him in your team, get him in.
3 back rowers for 2 spots though, man. You've got
that's the only concern is
Lane, Madison, and Cartwright.
I can't see.
I don't know. Cartwright seemed like he was a favourite by Brady.
Yeah,
that's my concern.
That's a good point, actually. If he doesn't play 80 minutes, then obviously he's not.
That's my concern there.
He's not as relevant.
As a fan coming in,
I'm looking at it as I think that he is guaranteed 80 minutes for mine. I think Cartwright and Hopgood are the ones that would come off for Madison.
Yeah. Hopgood, are they trying to move Hopgood into the middle?
No, I think he's starting lock.
You think he's starting lock?
I think he'll start lock. I think Madison will come on. Yeah, there's a lot of big minute forwards.
It's a tricky one, eh? Yeah. Especially for that Eels side. They've got a lot of young, big guys wanting to play. So, but your observation is great. It makes sense. A shit year. Lane was injured, had some off-field shit going on, whatever.
Yeah.
Averaging 70 the year before, he could easily get to 60 with ease. That's just a regular every week.
Yeah.
And the good weeks where Parramatta tail up inside.
Yeah.
And if that is it left edge? Yeah. If that left edge is firing, unlike any other left edge. Parramatta's left edge is the most random stat of all time. Unreal some weeks, MIA the next.
Yeah.
If they can just find that consistency, fuck me, they got some strike weapons there. So
next one, Ben Travojevic. That's a strange one. I don't know why he's at 35%.
Benny, because the trial, dude.
He had that trial. I don't think best case scenario for him. I think he gets a bench spot and plays 10 minutes and gets 6 points.
Do you think Brad Parker? Do you think they finally drop him for Ben?
Nah,
because they're not dropping Cooler. There's no way in God's green earth that Cooler is getting dropped.
I don't think that he.
No Harper.
I don't think he gets into the centre. If he does, then he's a good option.
Huge option.
100%. I don't think he's going to get picked though.
Yep.
He's been this way for probably 5 years, I reckon, Ben Travojevic. He's always around. He always has high ownership. I think just because of his name. Yeah. People wanted Travojevic in their side.
Fair enough.
He's got that potential. He's always been talked about.
When he's had to fill in.
But he's
been good.
He just doesn't get the game time. So I can't go him. If he gets named at centre, jump on him. But I can't see it happening.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Parker because it would be that spot. It wouldn't be the other side. Yeah. No way in hell. So, interesting. No Harper anymore either. So he's moved up a spot in that depth chart. So
yeah, well, that's true. They pick up an injury in that outside backs.
He sort of has to come in.
He's probably next in line.
Yeah, so. And he's a big enough body to fill in centre, wing. Yeah. And maybe even a back row if it really gets dicey.
He can play second row.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Curran is at 29%. I love him if he is starting lock.
That's my only issue. As a rugby league fan, I love him. He gives you everything you want as a SuperCoach player.
Yeah.
But the Bulldogs just have so many options across that whole back line, and it's going to be very coach dependent.
Well, he's an interesting one because he averaged 41 last year.
Yep.
He
came off the bench.
He didn't seem like he was well liked within the team from what I can gather, because he's, for mine, one of the better forwards in the game.
Yeah.
I think a couple of years ago, I would have had him close to being in the New South Wales team.
Yeah, he's got that dog. He's got that.
But he just, couldn't get much game time over the Warriors. So I don't know whether there was personality clashes or just something going on there. But
maybe the coach knew he wasn't going to be there for long. So what's the point of keeping a guy in a spot?
But 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2021, he averaged 67.
Massive. And that's when he came on the map. That's when everyone started to really...
So then he fell away. 2022 averaged 54, 41. But I think 2021, that was when he was playing big minutes. He's playing 70 minutes a game compared to 49 last year.
Yeah.
So if we can get those minutes up to around, I don't expect it to go back to 70. If we can get up to 60 starting lock, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
He's going to get, I would say, at least 55, 60 points.
Yeah. Well, you got Preston. Preston's locked, you'd think.
Yeah.
Off his rookie season, he's a lock. So it's
well, just going off their team list for the trials.
Yeah.
They've got someone. Where is he?
I think they're versing us this week, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got Jamin Salmon at lock, which I don't get.
Mate, they got 16 utilities to pick from. So
I don't know. That shocked me when I seen that. If Salmon's starting lock, I'll tell you what, he could be an option too.
Yeah. Big body.
317K. You can put him in the centres as well, which is really handy. He's 8% ownership at the moment. That will skyrocket if he gets named lock starting round one.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah, because 50 minutes of Salmon could be good. I'm surprised, just speaking NRL for a minute, I'm surprised by the Bulldogs team that they've named. I really am. They've got Hutchison at 7. I really liked Sexton. I thought he played really well against Melbourne in the first week trials.
Yeah, do you think they're just resting him? Just to be fresh?
He's named in the team, like on the extended bench. I don't know. It's a strange one because they've kind of got, like, the rest of their team is full strength.
Yeah.
There's just a few little...
Who's 10?
10. Farmasuli.
There you
go. He could be an option.
Bulldogs.
Yeah, he's another one to look at for your front rowers.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
I have a quick one.
Yeah.
Now, so Luciano has confirmed going to the Dragons today.
That's confirmed, is it?
It's confirmed. He signed with the Dragons. So this brings up my guy, Lukey. I think he guarantees a start.
I think so.
I think he's guaranteed to start in that second row now.
Yeah.
And he was impressive when he...
He's 470K, so he's a little bit pricey. But he's certainly got the attack.
When he plays, he is very good.
Because he averaged 47 minutes last year.
Off a bench.
And got 46 points.
Yeah. And he's a back row specialist, I'd say. Like, that's his spot.
So he played a couple of games starting in the second row.
And that's when Luciano
last year
came back from
injury.
Got
points, 77 points.
Yep.
Another big minute game, 71 minutes, 87 points. That's starting second row. So if he's going to get that, there's not too many games to choose from. A lot of the games he started second row and then played 50 minutes and got around 50 points.
Yeah.
But if he's playing 70, 80 minutes in the second row, I tell you what.
It could be on, man.
I like it.
I called it last week, and I think he's in for a big year.
I really
now
like
that Luciano's
5% ownership too.
Low.
That'll go up, I think. But
I'm one of the 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
With Luciano going, who else have they got? They've got, what's his name on the other side? The gun.
Yeah.
Having a mind blank right now. Queenslander. They got him. He's guaranteed.
Yeah.
He's a lock. But this left side, fuck.
Yeah.
Drink water, roaming both sides of the field. Dangerous. So, have a look, guys.
Not bad at all. The other one is the Tigers, Safer.
Safer, yeah. He's a hothead.
I
love it.
He got named at starting lock for the Tigers this week.
Yep.
So if he can get that spot, they've got Bateman to come into the team. They haven't named him.
Forgot about Bateman.
But I don't mind that. If he can start round one, he's someone to look at as well. There's just so many options in the second row.
Yeah, it's very dependent on how you want to build your team, eh?
Yeah, and obviously he's got the bye round one too. So if you've got Coruscant and him, you might be a bit short round one. So that's another thing to consider. You don't want to load up too much on the same team, just because obviously when they have their bye, you can get caught short. 2 or 3 I think is fine.
Give us your top 3 in the second row. Who you think?
I think Sean Lane.
So he's the guy. Value.
I think so.
He's got the upside.
Lukey, you've talked me into Lukey.
I like Lukey.
I haven't got to him yet, but Bo Firma.
Oh, gun.
I think he's really good. 20% ownership, 18% even less.
People forget how good he was before he got that ACL or whatever it was.
And Feeder's out the first 4 or 5 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
So he's going to...
Guaranteed.
He's going to get 80 minutes. The attack's going to go down his side, I'd imagine.
100%.
Because he's...
Run it through him like a train.
Yeah.
Because he was so good, man. I remember that year that as he got injured, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He gave a shit. He was probably the few Titans players that gave a shit that year.
He averaged 65
in
2022.
There you go.
So
2 years.
Obviously got injured last year, didn't play a game.
Yeah, that huge injury at the end of the season.
Yeah, if he plays 80 minutes on the edge, gets 65 points from him,
he will.
You can't go wrong at, what is he, 460k.
He's a workhorse. Absolute workhorse.
Tallis Duncan from the South, Sydney Rabbitohs.
Yep.
He's a hell of a player. I don't know about his minutes, so...
South Sydney have a lot of depth there.
I think a lot of people want him to start on the edge. If he did that, I'd be all over him. But I think he's going to come off the bench and maybe play 20 minutes when... what's his name? Cam Murray, when he's off the field,
comes
I think.
Off.
So, 320k. Look,
is he a dual?
No, just second row.
Just second row. Because I was just thinking...
Yeah.
All right. Tell us.
Kickout, 12%.
I'm staying away from Kickout.
Yeah,
respectfully.
He's one of those players. He can get you 70 or he can get you 30.
Yeah, massively.
If he was playing for a good team, then for 460k, he's worth it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to get that much attack.
I just need to see 10 weeks of the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And
he's coming off an injury as well, so he's probably not going to be at his best the first few weeks anyway.
Yeah.
I would stay away. If you've got him and you want to have that risk, go for it.
Yeah.
If you've got a feeling about Kickout, I'm not going to talk you out of it because, as I said, he can get you 70. He can average 70 points a game.
Yeah.
At his best. It's just I don't see it this year.
Yeah, the in between.
Not at the very least. I don't see it at the start of the year. Maybe towards the end of the midway part of the season, over that Origin period, he might be a look at. But yeah, not for me. Couple of other options. If you want to go for a gun second rower straight out the bat, because there's so many mid-range options, they're all under 10% ownership basically. So your Jermaine Hopgoods, your Cam Murrays, who's going to get you 65, 70 points a game
every week,
and you know that, it's probably worth a shout. I'm just trying to save money because in my halfbacks, which we'll get to now, I want Cleary and Hines.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sacrifices somewhere.
Yeah, of course. Having those, I think at least 50% of people will have that same combo. Hines and...
Yeah, well, Cleary. 42%. I think he's probably the highest owned player in the game. Yeah. 42%.
And rightfully so.
And Hines, 33%.
So different in style, but the points they produce.
Like Hines, when you look at 95 he averaged last year, it's insane.
That's fucking
Cleary
ridiculous.
averaged 90.
And I would say Sharks had a shit year.
Yeah. There's a bit of talk about Hines that I've read about Trindle instead of Moylan, how he scores a bit less because Trindle's a more dominant player. I don't see it. I can see the logic to it, but I think it's a bit of overthinking. I think Hines is just that good.
Yeah.
And I think they're a better team with Trindle.
He's the guy.
I think they're a better team with Trindle, and I think that's going to free up Hines more so.
Yeah.
Because it's not him having to do all the work.
Yeah.
So I think instead of the defenders being on him all the time,
they'll have to start to slide.
So yeah, I think it would actually have the opposite effect. I know the stats from last year, they played a couple of games together. But that was also during the time, I believe, where Hines was pretty out of form. That was during that Origin period.
Fittler fucking shot him in the head and shot his confidence.
So you can read into it like it was Trindle's fault, but I feel like it's just a bit of a coincidence where it was just that time of the year where his scores would just dipped slightly.
I think so.
Happened to be when Moylan was injured. So I'm not reading much into that at all. I think Hines is, he's 970K, but he's that for a reason.
Moylan was very good on the short side, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But Trindle likes to roam.
Yeah.
He's a roamer. He'll go left, right, down the middle. So it'll be cool to see how they play.
Yeah, I think Hines...
I still think he averages the high 80s, to be honest.
Oh, I think, at least. I think that's the low.
Yeah, or even...
Lowest
hit the 90s. He'll get the ball. Whenever he wants the ball, it's going to be very Jimmy Maloney.
And Hines will goal kick, won't he? Trindle won't goal kick.
No, Hines will goal kick unless he's got an injury, then Trindle will take over or Kennedy.
Cleary, 912 again. He's that much money for a reason. If you can get him in.
He's amazing.
Early in the season, he normally does seem to start slow, but you know what he's going to get.
He's going to get 30 tackles, 1 miss.
Yeah.
3 try assists, 100 metres
and
run.
that's it. A lot of these other halfbacks, they've got games where they can... Mitchell Moses is a perfect example. He can get you 150 points on his day, but he can also get you 10.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that base.
Cleary will always be in the game. It doesn't matter the score.
Cleary could have his worst game of his life and still 60. Get 40 points.
Yeah. It's crazy. He's so good.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
And players like Cleary and Hines, because they are owned so highly, they do get a lot of favourable scores from...
Of course they do.
From the SuperCoach when judging try assist, etc.
Were you playing when Paul Gallen was in SuperCoach?
Yeah.
You can't tell me his scores weren't inflated.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
A lot of people like to whinge about it, which I get. If you're taking a chance and not picking them.
Pick them.
But you know that's going to happen. It happens every year. The top players, big names, they're going to get extra points.
Of course.
And you've got to take that into account when you're selecting your team.
And the thing is, if you want to take SuperCoach seriously, put your pride to the side.
Yeah.
Example, I'm looking at Will's team here. I see 1 eel at the moment, 2 eels at the moment. That's it.
Yeah.
Put your pride to the side. Unless they are fucking weapons, put it to the side. Trust me, rule number 1.
I'll have if I'm 50-50 on someone, I'll pick the player that I prefer watching more.
And that's fine.
Just because I know that I'm going to go, it sounds stupid, but if I'm going to a para game this week, and I don't have a para player in my team, and I'm tossing up between a para player and another player, and it's really 50-50. I can't separate.
Like you're stuck.
I'll pick probably a para player because I know I'm going to go to the game. I can cheer him on.
Yeah.
Shit like that. But
But when it comes to the big dogs, put your pride to the side. Pick Cleary. Stop being stupid. Pick Cleary and pick Hines. You got to have them in there to win.
Look, there's merit. There is merit in picking Moses. Para have a really good draw early on, and he's 700K instead of 950K. So you're saving money there. He's at 9%, but again,
too treacherous. He could have a shit.
Yeah, that's
first 3 weeks, and he was at 0-3, and you're sitting there going. Fuck.
And a lot of the time, you overread into who has the better draws, a lot of the time it doesn't play out how you think.
This strength of draw shit, especially in the first 6 weeks, it doesn't matter. Everyone is brand new. No injuries,
everyone
no
is
nothing.
so rusty anyway.
Yeah.
But there's no fatigue, so the defenses are normally pretty good the opening kind of 5 or 6 rounds.
Like this,
and the attacks are quite clunky. So, you're not going to see teams scoring 70-0 this early into the season, I don't think.
No. Shout out the Tigers.
Yeah. Let's hope not for the Tigers
Shout
anyway.
out the Cowboys. They both did it to each other. I respect that.
Drew Hutchison, he's number 4 on the list, 13% ownership. He's cheap. You can get him in the second row. So if he's starting halfback, I don't mind him in the second row. I wouldn't get him at halfback. The reason being there's only 2 spots at halfback, so it's more valuable. You've got like 7 spots at centre. So you can fill that with your cheapies if you have the choice to. Aiden Caesar, if you're not going with Cleary and Hines.
You got to go Cleary and Hines, mate.
He's 340K. Yeah, there's merit there. He might make a little bit of money, but he's not going to score above 50, I don't think.
No.
He might average 55 at best. Trindle, again, cheaper option, will score all right, but they're just, none of these players are just at that caliber.
Yeah. The only one I'd have in half source 5/8 is probably Cherry Evans. He'd be the only he could put 60 together for 6 weeks straight.
Cherry, and he's at 2%. So if you like him, but again, it's 780K. If you're spending that much, just find a way to get up to Cleary and Hines. I think 100%. They're by far the best.
I dare say to win this SuperCoach this year, you'll need them to in 95% of your teams this year.
Let's go second rowers. 5/8, sorry. There's a couple of cheap options from Canberra. Whoever gets the starting half spots there. Yeah. I think they're both up for grabs, halfback and 5/8.
Yeah.
So whatever happens there, you've got options. KO Weeks, I think, is looking likely to get the 5/8 spot.
Yeah. He's pretty good.
Ethan Strange, might get something too. He might get a centre spot. A fullback spot, I don't know. I don't know what Canberra's doing. They've got a lot
of backs.
From 1 to 7 could just about all be cheapies.
I reckon the only one that stays is what's his name?
Savage?
No, the halfback last year. I'm having the biggest Brian. What's his name? I'm having a mind blank. He's the only one that I think guarantees starts.
The halfback
or 5/8. Play for Gold Coast. I'm having the biggest fucking mind blank.
Fogarty?
Yeah, Fogarty.
Is he around?
Yeah, he plays for Canberra now.
Does he?
Doesn't he?
No. He's gone. Yeah.
Where is he?
I don't know. Going to Super League or something.
What the fuck? I thought he was still in Canberra. Oh, fucking ignore that then. Bro, I was fucking convinced.
So, yeah, I think from 1 to 7, they're all...
So they've got up for grabs.
Yeah, like their team this week.
I'd like to see Savage come back. I feel like he's been unfairly dropped a couple... Like, he had that one horrible game and Stewart just fucking left him in reserve grade for like 12 weeks.
Well, their team this year, Albert Hopewade, who's played a couple of games.
Yeah, true. I forgot to
Asamoah,
yeah.
I haven't heard of him. Timoko.
He's probably the only one that guarantees his spot A.
Schiller, Savage, KO Weeks, and Ethan Strange. That's your 1 to 7.
Interesting.
It's weak.
Very.
Yeah. And
Where then the fuck is Fogarty?
Chevy Stewart. He played fullback, I think, in the last trial. He did pretty well.
Peter Holler. Hoskins there now.
Yeah, interesting.
Denny Levi's back. Wow. Fucking.
Where is I'll look him up for you.
Bro, that's going to fuck me. I was convinced he was
still there. I'm pretty sure
he's
in Super League. Or did he retire?
Did he just fucking leave? I don't remember seeing anything about it.
He's... Don't know. He's just left, I guess.
Fucking what?
Yeah, doesn't say anything.
I thought he'd be the next, like...
Well, he's not in their top 30, but I think he's still signed with Canberra. Yeah, because he didn't announce his retirement.
He might be leaving, because that's strange. Because he was one of their better players last year.
Anyway,
it's weird.
Dylan Brown, 21% ownership.
He'll be the one that everyone buys, I dare say.
Yeah, I thought he'd be a lot higher, actually. than 21%.
Yeah.
780K. He is just, we talked about earlier, just that base stat. You're not going to get a bad score out of him. He's going to get 40 at his absolute worst. And then I think he's in for a big year. I really do. Para has that. I know we talked about the early draw. You read too much into it, but they do have a good draw early on.
I think he's going to run the ball a lot more this year. Like he's going to make a real point of emphasis.
Yeah. I think just hearing a few things of how he's been talking in the media, how he feels like he let the team down last year, and he feels like he owes it to the boys, owes it to the fans to have a really big year. He looks fired up.
I don't know why he's saying it.
He seems fit.
First 4 weeks fucking cost you the season. Let's fucking be real.
But just everything about it.
I'm keen for Brown.
I think this is his year. I really do. He's had a few years now where he's been good, but hasn't been the guy.
Yeah.
Whereas I think he'll really step up this year.
I'm excited to hear. I know we're not there, but I'm excited to hear your outside backs.
Ezra Mam.
I'm worried about him.
I'm not that keen.
I think he's his recency bias.
I think so too. I was about to say that. I think a lot of people.
The grand final especially.
Yeah, that's the last game a lot of people have watched and be like, oh, Ezra Man, he played well, didn't he?
600 tries, 400 meters, whatever. He's amazing.
Yeah. And he's cheap, 530K. Oh, well, he's, just about as good as Dylan Brown. But when
there's a lot of attacking weapons at that Brisbane Broncos team.
And I think a lot of it is the newer players picking up Ezra Man. I think your SuperCoach players probably aren't looking too much into him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely understand how if you're not looking at the stats too much and you see Dylan Brown and Ezra Mam, and Ezra Mam's 200K cheaper.
He picks up an injury, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be good for round 1, I think. But yeah. Aiden Caesar again. I can justify him in 5A a lot more than halfback.
Yeah, see, I'm not going anyone but I'm going Brown.
But I think as that second, because I think you can get away with 1 5'8". I don't think you need 2.
Yeah, you don't need 2 traditional.
I can see Caesar, but I think Canberra, whoever gets the spot there, I think they're going to be cheaper. Just save the money and go for them, I think.
Yeah.
Jaden Campbell, he's injured, I think, until round 5.
Yeah, that one's a tricky one too.
He was one that a lot of people were looking at over Dylan Brown. He's at 11% now, obviously, because he's injured, but that was a lot higher before. I didn't rate it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan on Jaden Campbell. I think
unless he was wearing a Parramatta shirt.
He's got the ability. Don't get me wrong. He's just way too inconsistent for me.
And his best spot's fullback.
Is it?
I don't know. He looks good. Like when he...
I'm not convinced.
Titans have a bit of a tricky thing to figure out.
I still think Brimson is the best fullback at that club.
He's good. Brimson's a gun.
He's got moments, Campbell, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just too inconsistent for me. I don't like him. Sure, he's a good bloke, but Kyle Flanagan is an interesting one at 5'8", 310K.
He'll be starting.
He will play because Stad's coaching.
And he's really like their only option now.
Yeah, well, they've gotten rid of all their 5'8s.
Well, one left because he got into some mischief with a hammer. One left to go to the Tigers. So
yeah.
He's the only real option.
I don't think he's going to goal kick though. So if he gets the goal kicking off
Lomax,
stays
with Lomax,
then he's a chance. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't see Dragons playing well. I can't see him getting many points.
That's fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't go him. So Munster at 8%. He should be higher, I think.
Rugby league fan incoming. I think he's in for a fucking massive comeback year.
Yeah.
Massive comeback
Well, he had last year, I reckon, just about his worst year of his career.
Ever.
He still averaged 71.
Still averaged 70. That's what I mean.
Like,
imagine, I think he's back. I think he's on.
Munster at his best is, I would say,
one of the best ball running halves I've ever seen.
He averaged 81 the year before. 2022 averaged 81, then 71 last year. So it's a 10-point drop.
He's amazing. Someone needs to check what they put on him pre-game because he's fucking impossible to tackle.
Yeah.
Bit of baby oil. Fucking hell. Slippery. Explosive.
If you're not a big fan of Dylan Brown, then you've got to go Munster. At 8%, he can He'll be up there. They'll be the top 2.
100%.
They'll be top 2 comfortably. You've got to have at least one of them, I reckon, in your team. Matty Burton, I don't think so.
The best centre that doesn't play there.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then all these other options are just not great.
I think
nothing good
really
about
there,
it.
There's 4 options.
Yeah, pretty much.
So at the moment, look,
well, there's 2 options and then a couple of cheaper options.
Someone's going to surprise us, but
Dearden, he can be there. He's 600k. Just spend an extra 100k and get one of the other 2, I think.
Yeah.
Centres. Now, I'll start off with the cheaper ones. So you've got Ethan Strange, Chevy Stewart, Iro. I don't think he's going to get a starting spot. Yeah. If he does, then he's a lock.
Did you watch
he looked good.
Did you watch it?
He looked good. Jack Bostock, I think he'll start for the Dolphins. Xavier Savage, he's 350k. I'm going off him a bit.
I hope he comes back, man.
I think unless he's playing fullback, that's a lot of money to spend for a centre that has not much job security with Ricky Stewart.
Yeah.
Bronson Xerri, he's a little bit more, 350k.
How good was he?
I think he's locked into a centre role.
For someone who hadn't played for 4 years.
The only thing that worries me is Carraz is coming back from injury.
He's
when
amazing.
he comes back, does he take Jerry's spot?
You got to fit Carraz in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that team.
Well, they've got Wilson, I think, on the wing, so he's probably more likely to drop out, I think. I think Carraz is a better winger than a centre.
Wasn't he the best winger for the first 10 rounds last year, Carraz?
Carraz, yeah.
By stats,
he
by
was
points,
great.
By everything.
He was really good. So I think when he comes back, he will be in the team somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just hoping it's not for Xerri because I'm going to start with him, I think.
I can't imagine Xerri will drop out. He's a specialist centre. He's a specialist.
But Carraz can play centre too.
That's true. Depends with what they want to go with, I guess.
Yeah.
Finishing or stats.
Yeah.
Not stats, but like...
Just that.
I'm not saying Carraz is a bad finisher.
Yeah.
But he'll give you a bulk of work rather than just...
Is that Brian To'o kind of player who's going to make those runs?
Wilson's very good at finishing. I'll give Wilson that. He's a very good finisher.
Yeah. Taylor May, 450k.
He'll be in the centres this year.
Yeah, I don't like him at centre. He's highly owned, 33%. Look, if you go with him, it's not going to hurt you. He's priced at, 45 points maybe? Maybe a little bit less. He'll get that, I think. I don't know if he's going to get much more at centre. If he's on the wing, I'm all over him.
Yeah, the Bash Bros, him and
I don't like him as much at centre. I can see a world where I'll get him into the team. But, yeah. If he's named on the wing, he's definitely there for me.
Tungo, May, who have I missed?
Taruva.
3 spots.
Yeah. So...
Who are their wingers? Toto and
Taruva.
Taruva with the wingers. So, yeah.
So, it'll just be whether they drop Taruva or maybe play Taruva at centre.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Crazy.
May at centre, it could be good. Like
it scares me that Penrith have options still.
Yeah.
It scares me.
Yeah. Like if you've got May, it's not the worst pick. It's just I'm a bit cautious of him.
You need to see where they're going with it. You need to see where they're going with it the first couple of weeks. Yeah.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, 20% ownership I think is way too high.
I don't like it.
He's 530k. He's playing centre. If he was playing fullback, then maybe.
Did you see?
He looked good in defence.
He was sort of stuck on the edge though.
Yeah.
He couldn't roam. He couldn't take the dart out of half.
I don't think he's going to score too well. I think he might get 40 points. If he was 350k, sure, but not for 530. It's way too much money for him, I think. Jack Bostock, we talked about him. I think he'll get a starting spot, 314k. Not a bad option. Hammer, 600k, very expensive, but he's going to be good. I think they've got a pretty good draw too.
Bostock's a winger?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I'm about to say you forgot about Herbie. I just remembered Herbie. Yeah. Forgot he's at the Dolphins.
He'll play centre.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. What do you think of Hamiso?
I think he'll get you 80 most weeks just because he's the fullback. Is he not?
Yeah.
They're going to probably still go with him as fullback.
I think it's a bit much for him, 600K.
Yeah, but that finish to the year, I think, really inflated his price.
Yeah.
His last 6 weeks, from memory, were very good. So
let's have a look.
I remember he had a good run. It was like a 4 or 5 period week where he just...
It was all right. The last couple of weeks, 73, 62.
Pretty...
Yeah.
Bring him in when he versus the Cowboys.
Yeah. Loves the Cowboys.
He loves versing his old team. Yeah, that is a bit high, actually. That's high.
I wouldn't pay 600,000 for it.
There's better options out there.
Because again, he's doesn't have the base, so he can hit you with a 35, and when he's 600K, that's going to hurt. Savage talked about. Farlongo from Melbourne, I don't think he's going to get a starting spot.
No.
Unfortunately.
I think Pappy's in for a good.
There was talk about him playing centre, but it's not going to happen, I don't think.
No.
Asako, 783K. Look,
Goal kicker, scored 1 billion tries last year. I can see why the price is that high. He'll probably, you know what? He'll probably average 80 again, to be honest.
For me, he's a weight. I can see him dropping a lot. I can't see him making much. I can see him holding his...
He'll hold
his money, but I can see a world where he has a couple of quiet weeks and that money drops incredibly fast.
Yep.
And I don't want to be on him then.
Yep.
Wait for him to drop. Hopefully he does have a couple of quiet games early in the year, drops to 600K, pick him up.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Because, 20-something tries.
Yeah.
Converted at like 78%.
Surely he can't do it again. Dolphins... maybe.
Wayne Bennett. I can never, he's that one coach I can never write off. Him and Bellamy.
Ruben Garrick, 10% ownership. Sure. And I'll throw in the next one.
That one's surprised. 10%.
Valentine Holmes as well, because they're similar price, 730K. Both goal-kicking centres. Ruben Garrick's going to play centre this year.
Ooh. I think that's good for Garrick.
Do you reckon? Not as many tries, I don't think, then.
That's true. He was the winger last year. True.
Because he was playing a lot of fullback too.
When Turbo was out.
So he's playing a bit of fullback, then he shifted to the wing. I don't like him as much in centre. Val Holmes, I could get him. I could get around him. He's just expensive, 730K. And I don't like him, so I don't really want him on my team.
He's not in your team, we know that.
But yeah, in all seriousness, if I can find a way to get him in, I like him probably more than all of the other gun centres. I just think he's got the base.
I've got a name for you. Labour. For the Cowboys. No more has Peter Hiku left. I'm pretty sure.
No, not for 460K.
Is he 460?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe not. Fuck, everyone's on him.
Greg Marzu, I like him too, actually.
Yeah,
780K.
Meters.
He's very expensive. He had a hell of a year. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to find a way to get him in the team. I'd like to have him, but too much for me.
I mean, you've put all your money in the halves and forwards, so it's like you got to lose out somewhere.
Got to save money somewhere. You got to make sacrifices.
For me, no one. Yeah, it's depending on how you want to build your team.
There's one that I am tempted by, and he's very low ownership. Zach Lomax. Now he's a 2%. 2%. Now this
is he fullback wing?
Just centre.
Ooh.
Now this for me,
surely they'll change that.
Is dependent on whether he gets the starting spot.
100%.
He keeps getting named on the wing, which I don't like. They keep picking Sloan at fullback. Sloan is shit. Sorry for.
I'm not going to write him off yet.
All the Sloan fans out there, but I think he's absolute dog shit. I don't know how he still has.
That's rough.
I don't know how he has a spot. I don't know how he's a fullback. surely it's a matter of time before they move Lomax there. I'm hoping they do it for round 1. Again, in the trial this week, he hasn't been named there. Lomax, I'm speaking, he was on the wing. I just hope Flanagan comes to his senses. Put Lomax at fullback.
Well, I guess it depends how Sloan goes, isn't it?
If
he kills it,
he's going to be shit. So Lomax, if he can get fullback, I'm all over him. 630k, his goal kicking. I don't think they're going to name him there. Unfortunately, I think he'll get there at some point. It might take a few weeks for him to get there, though.
Yeah.
Mike Acevo, 550k. Could score a few tries early on and make a heap of money. He could also not score a few tries and lose a lot of money. So
this is my issue with Acevo, man. He scores a lot of easy tries.
Yeah.
Cool. But when it comes to like kick return off the kicks and that, he's got such a big body and he just frails to the ground.
He should be making as many meters as Toto.
He is the carbon copy of Marju.
He makes 120 meters.
If he had the same ticker as Marju, best winger in the comp.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. But he just doesn't.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the fullbacks now.
Yep.
Again, a lot of cheap options. I would strongly recommend going against putting any of the cheap options at fullback. I think you need at least two
guns.
Genuine guns at fullback. It's such a high scoring position.
Yep.
That's where the majority of the top players are there.
Yep.
So you've got to get 2 of them. There's lots of options. There's Ponga, there's Pappenhausen, Travojevic, Reece Walsh, Gutherson, Latrell Mitchell, Scott Drinkwater.
I guess this is the one position where your pride sort of comes into it a bit. Like you could sort of pick any of those guys and you're sort of sweet to an extent. So
the problem is that there's going to be such a fluctuation between them. Yep. Like Kalen Ponga, for instance, I haven't got him, and that terrifies me because he can get 150 points so easily.
Yeah, craziest part about him.
And I've got Tom Travojevic in my team who could easily get injured and score 20.
Yeah,
so it's so important picking the right ones.
Yeah,
Kalen Ponga is the most, apart from the cheap players, he's the most highest owned player at fullback, 32%. Again, the way he finished last year was incredible, and he only really scored well in the final 6 or 7 rounds when he was goal kicking.
Yeah.
Look at this: 180, 137, 96, 122, 121, 77, 91, 128. That's insane.
That's crazy.
So
he could have like 150 if he didn't get taken off against the Sharks either.
Well, that's it. He had like a 1 in his score. He had a 58. He had a 16 in his score from earlier on in the year.
Yeah.
That was when he wasn't playing well. That's when he wasn't goal kicking. I think he might have been at 5'8". So you could argue that since he got moved, he did not score below 77.
That's crazy.
That's his lowest score since he picked up the goal kicking. So that terrifies me. But again, you've got to make different plays, and he's at 32% ownership. I think that it's going to be hard for him to recreate that, especially early on in the season when the defenses are a lot better. I think they had a pretty good run last year as well towards the end of the season.
9 from 10?
So they had a pretty soft draw. I think, I might find a way to put him in, but at the moment I'm going without him and I'm just going to death ride him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hopefully he, don't
death ride him in a good way.
Don't want to wish injuries upon anyone, but if he gets a concussion at some point, hey, SuperCoach.
Yeah, we don't wish any injuries upon anyone in the team, please.
Pappenhausen, 23%. He's 650k, which is very cheap for him.
Big drop.
We know what he can do.
So,
didn't play last year, basically.
When he's on, but Best fullback
he's
in the
up
game.
there with all the other players. He's a 900k fullback.
Ridiculous.
2 years ago.
So get on him now, essentially.
Yeah. I think if you think that he's going to get anywhere close to his best, he averaged 90 in 2022.
That's ridiculous.
So look, that's where he can get up to.
He's in my team too. He's my starter.
For that price, I can't see him going down at all.
No, I cannot see it.
Tom Trbojevic. So I've gone him over Ponga. That's my decision.
Yeah.
Where I've at the moment 13% ownership for Tom Trbojevic, which is crazy low for him.
Yeah, massively.
Obviously, everyone's going Ponga instead. So
I think a bit of recency bias again.
I think Tom Trbojevic
warranted.
Terrifies me as much as Ponga would if I didn't have him.
He plays 40 minutes some games and scores 80. Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
He averaged, 2 years ago? It was absolutely insane.
The year he won Dally M.
Yeah.
He played 16 games 16.
He averaged 143.
That's fucking stupid.
So I don't want him to do that when I don't have him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's why he's in my team. And he played, not even half the season.
Yeah.
It's just
crazy.
Nuts. So I've got him. Obviously, his injuries are a huge concern. I'm terrified that I'm going to pick him and he gets hurt, made of glass. But
I hope not. I love Turbo. Fucking love him.
I want to see it. It's more of a gut feel as well. I feel that he's going to have a good year. I think he's been so unlucky with injury. He's due for some luck. I hope it's good. I feel like it's going to be good for him. And sometimes you just got to listen to your gut, don't you? So,
that's it. Rough rigs. Listen to your gut.
Latrell, he's an option.
There's only one man that scares me.
Though.
If I don't pick him, I'll be very upset because he's got that ability to average 130, and I think that's Scott Drinkwater.
Yeah, I can see that.
Don't know why he's not in there.
5% ownership. He averaged 83 last year.
Yeah.
Does he get the goal kicking? No, Val Holmes.
Val Holmes will take, but I think he still does.
If anything happens to Val Holmes, though,
he gets it.
Then
it's him or Townsend.
I think they get him over Townsend.
Yeah.
So if something does, Val Holmes picks up a niggle somewhere and misses a few weeks, Scott Drinkwater all of a sudden, his stocks raise a lot.
Massively.
Dylan Edwards, he's solid. He's not going to let you down, but I don't see him getting that 150.
No, he's the best. He's the best fullback.
He's going to get 70, 80 every week.
In real life.
Tedesco's an interesting one, 3% ownership. He's got that big game in him. Didn't do much of it last year. Everyone's kind of writing him off.
I think people are just off him, and it's sad.
I think so. I think, again, he averaged 70 in SuperCoach, so he didn't have a terrible year.
Yeah, you take that for some players.
Like, he averaged more than Dylan Edwards, and everyone is talking about how Edwards. Good of an option
I think it's just, again,
Edwards is.
The Blues. He had a few bad games in between.
Yeah.
Everyone's off him, which is so unfair because he's been one of the New South Wales Blues best players.
If his name wasn't James Tedesco, it was something else, then people would be talking a lot more highly of
Jimmy
him.
Smith.
It's just because we know what he can do, and he's not at that level that
it's
he was.
So unfair, but
if he can get back there, then he is one of the best fullback options
for sure
of all time. So, look, if you want to start with him, I don't mind it at 3%. It's obviously a risk.
Yep.
But I can see a world where he gets back to somewhere near his best, and there's just so many options at fullback. You can only pick two of them. Clint Gutherson, again, very similar to Dylan Edwards. I think he's going to be solid, but he's not going to get you 150.
He's very good in game. He'll stop you 3 tries.
He's good. I tell you what, if Moses, something happens to him and he picks up the goal kicking, then all of a sudden he goes from an 80 average to a 95 average. Yep. Hey, but I wouldn't go him. He's a look at over Origin. He always is because he normally doesn't play. Yep. Para normally have a good draw over Origin. He always seems to kind of find his way into my team. And he always seems to step up because other para players are out, he normally steps up and does really well. But he's not someone to start with. That's about it. Do you have anything?
No, man.
I missed?
I enjoyed that. We'll obviously try and shorten the episodes as weeks go on.
Yeah,
and
it was the first week, so I thought just kind of give a big overview, go over everything.
Yeah.
In the coming weeks, send through some questions. Any SuperCoach questions that you've got, send through.
Yeah, we'll put up a post and then throw your questions on the post.
We'll answer them. Maybe even get a live stream going at some point in the future.
I reckon we do a companion for certain games. Sharks, Eels, obviously, and fun games like that. Eels, Panthers. We'll try and do some fun things like that.
But if you enjoyed this, hopefully taught you something, learned something from it. Took something away from it, who knows?
And fuck you have a lot of money just sitting there, by the way.
Yeah, well,
this early.
I've got 152k. Obviously, this isn't my final team. There's going to be plenty of changes. So I don't want to use it all and then have to make changes and sell people that I want to sell. So,
anyways, thanks for that. That was fucking good.
So, yeah, hopefully we didn't ramble on too much.
No, I think it was fair. I think it was good.
But, yeah, that's our first episode done. So,
cheers.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll be back maybe next week or the week after once round one team lists.
Once round one tees off, we'll be here weekly.
Yeah.
We'll do this weekly.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, but a lot dependent on the round one team list. It'll be really interesting to see who gets named for that. But yeah.
Thanks.
Catch you in the next episode.
See you guys. Appreciate yous. Love yous. Bye.